Hey folks, you're through another day. You're probably sick of me here saying this, but well done you. That just didn't happen. You got here again. And we're continuing on the theme of relationships. And the really most important thing in that is communication. Now, communication isn't being able to open our mouth, as I said before, and talk. It is a process, and it just doesn't happen. You have to plan for it. You heard me say about setting time aside, for a weekly check-in. But it is important that many things happen for that to happen. And first of all, um, any process of communication, particularly if you want to resolve something or work towards consensus, it should be very safe and secure. You're not going to have a conversation with somebody if you think that they're going to throw stuff up to you or they're going to attack you the first time you mention something or seem to blame them. And it's not about blaming them, directly, but they may take that, and we'll look at that in another video as well. Uh, but you have to create a safe process, and we've had an experience, I suppose, coming through the troubles where, if you mind, we had talks about talks, and it's a kind of bit like that. Before you would even come to um, trust each other to be able to sit down and discuss those things, you should set out the parameters that allow you to do that. And it is, we do it in a time that's convenient. We do it where it's safe and secure. We're not going to get interrupted. And I know that's difficult at these times when you have children around. So it might be maybe later on at night and things like that. But doing that, you give a commitment to each other. Look, you would like to look at something, and it's actually using conflict management, conflict resolution skills where there's a problem, and it's not that I'm accusing you or each other. It is, look, here's something that's impacting, and if we can look at the problem there and find a solution, that's beneficial for us all. And so even before you get to that, point of having a conversation, you should have a sense of what you're coming to talk about. And believe it or not, often we should know what we'll accept as an acknowledgement of that from the person that they've heard us, so as we can check that out as part of the process. But say it as a structure, it really should be safe. It should be, uninterrupted if possible. There should be a commitment to seeing it through, but not to a point where you have to force it. As I've already said in past videos, once you invite anybody, that's as much as you can do to have a conversation. Then, if you try to use force or try to use a greater power to overpower that, you've lost the communication process because the person stops listening, feels a threat, and won't be involved. Um, it's something that we know very clearly in the counselling field, I suppose, because it's what we kind of practice. And it can be essentially this: if you have a sense of what you want to say, then you invite somebody to start the conversation, and you allow them to talk uninterrupted. And at the end of that, you reflect back to them, look, I think I hear you saying that, because sometimes when we speak, we mightn't get exactly it out the way we want. And sadly, we're very quick to jump to, um, what a person has said. So it's important we actually listen to what they do say. And if you think about it, we have two ears and one mouth. So by right, we should actually be listening twice as much as we actually speak. But that's usually not the case, however. Um, so a person starts, and then you wait till they finish, and then you can say, "Look, my sense." If you always talk about your sense, is you're not judging anybody or saying you're saying this or saying that. You're saying, "Look, this is how I hear it." So you can say, "My sense is that you're saying this," and that allows the person then to, correct it if it's not exactly the way it was, or explain it maybe in more detail. And then when they're finished, then you have the same right to come back and say, well, look, this is how I experience it, or this is how I feel with this. And again, they're asked not to be interrupted, and they can check what you're at. And then you go forward like that, but always in civility, always without condemning or throwing up things from the past. as red herrings, just to structure people, and always talk about yourself and your own sense of things, because we cannot ever speak for anybody else. We might think we know people very well, but unless they actually tell you, then you really don't know. So you can only talk about your sense of things. As I say, as long as it's safe, it's secure, it's open and honest. You don't overly force it, because you might come to about a sticking point. But even if that happens, then you leave it and you come back to it again, and you say, look, we'll pick up where we come out. And you look for a consensus or a resolution, a way forward with what it is you're dealing with. Now, one of the hardest things in that is to agree to disagree, because there will be times when we don't see things the same way, and maybe there isn't a way to come to a consensus. But you know, it's easy to say we agree to disagree, but then you don't need to be bringing that back up again. If you truly accept that, okay, we see things differently, well, that's something you have to manage, but not something that should be used in the future to say, well, there you go again. You're not willing to do your open, your viewpoint to what I have to say. Uh, but that process has to be managed. It has to be reflective. It has to have empathy and understanding. There has to be a willingness and a commitment to actually do this, and you have to see that it has a value. I.e., if we resolve whatever the problems are, then that's better for our relationship. And I go back to what it says in the earlier video. That comes back and says to you, well, look, I know I can come and I can talk to you at any time. And it doesn't matter what the difficulty is, I know you'll hear me, and that you'll work with me to find a solution. And within that, if you can do that, then you've got all the tools you do. If there's something you can't manage, that's why marriage counselling guidelines or our people are there to help you, as well. But I have a great belief that people have a great capacity in themselves to do that. But you have to set the parameters and the structure around that. And as I say, it has to be very safe, because if somebody thinks you're going to defend by attacking, they won't engage in a conversation. I know I certainly wouldn't, because the conversation's going nowhere. So it is a process you have to commit to, and you have to see the value in it. And if you do, then you have all the tools you need often to resolve most of the problems that are going on. And if you need external advice, you say, particularly in these times when like benefits or, concerns about our health matters, then that's okay to go to another source. But you do what you can do within your ability to do it. Again, I'll say it's really important within that process to talk gently to yourself and to be kind and loving yourself. But more importantly, if you're inviting somebody to talk to you, particularly somebody you love and care for, then it's very important that you talk gently to them, be kind and loving to them, and know that you're doing this for the benefit of yourselves and any children you may have. Because in these times, it's important to be healthy and happy as best we can, dealing with the issues that we all have to do. So I wish you peace and happiness for the rest of the day, and we will talk again tomorrow. Bye for now.